and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Srceaming, and today it's a book club Monday. Woohoo! So we are doing the review for Lockwood & Co. #1, The Srceaming Staircase. That's very hard to say. Like, I messed it up like 4 times in a row now, and I'm just not very feeling it now, y'all. I try it, and that's about as far as it goes. So, did you guys read the book? You gotta let me know if you read it, okay? I'm pretty excited about it. We do have 10 questions here. I'm using my other phone to, like, read them out. So if I'm looking down, that's why I'm looking down. Okay, I'll try and hold it up so you guys know, like, what I'm doing and not being weird. But, okay. Let me know if you read the book. I'm super excited about it. I'm excited to talk about it. Okay, so question number 1. The Srceaming Staircase, honestly, it's so hard to say, is set in a world where ghosts and supernatural creatures pose a threat to society. How did the author establish this unique setting, and what impact did it have on the overall story? So the way that it's told is all of, like, pretty much teenagers and, like, youth can see, like, the others, like the ghosts and stuff like that, and they're on, like, ghost fighting squads. They do have adults who lead the squads, but, like, they're on the ghost fighting squads. They're doing the ghost fighting and stuff like that. And they explain, like, it's actually, like, a well-known phenomenon, and it's in the UK, and they have, like, ghost lights, and there's ghost candles, and it's really kind of, like, the way that the author set it up, it made it seem kind of like Victorian spooky London, but, like, in a modern day setting. I enjoyed it. I'm just gonna say that, actually. You know what? If I just say that right now, then I'll just get it out of the way and then I'll just stop trying to, like, fake say it. I love this book so much I gave it 5 stars. I was super pumped about it. I'll say that again at the end, but I'm just gonna put that out of the way now so that I can stop being like, it was really good. And, like, awkward, because that's exactly what's happening. But yeah, so I thought it was really neat. Like, it was almost like the atmosphere of the story was, like, I don't know how to explain it. How would you explain that? Kind of, it's perfect for this, like, time right now, because it's kind of Halloween-y, a little bit creepy, but not super scary, but actually kind of scary. It was really well written, so I could, like, picture it really well in my head. I really enjoyed it. Actually, I read it, like, half audio and half, like, physical book. I kind of did, like, both and both. And the physical actor had, like, an accent. It was really cool. The physical actor. The audio actor. Number 2 is the protagonist, Lucy Carlyle, is a young and talented ghost hunter. Discuss Lucy's character development throughout the novel. Focus on her strengths, her weaknesses, and how she grows as a person. So, in the book, at the beginning, she goes to go do interviews with different agencies, because that's what they are, is they're, like, ghost hunting agencies, and that's how she finds Lockwood & Co. And she goes to interview with them, and she has a really strong, like, she can pick up, like, say, this candle, and then she can hold it, and she can either feel what the ghost who, like, held this candle had happened to them, or else she can, like, sense the ghost's, like, feelings around the candle. Like, say somebody gave you this as a gift, which actually I did get this as a gift, but say somebody gave this to you as a gift, and then you were like, oh, that makes me think of this person. She can, like, sense those feelings that you would, like, think, like, oh, this reminds me of Janet, because I got this from Janet. Hi, Janet. Like, that kind of thing. So, yeah, like, she can sense that, and she can pick up, like, feelings, like a ghost reader, almost. Whereas Lockwood, who's, like, the Anthony and Lockwood, she said Anthony in the audiobook, but it's, like, Anthony. He doesn't have, like, that same skill. Like, he can kind of see the ghost apparitions, and he can kind of sense them, but he doesn't have, like, her high level of being able to, like, hear them, pick up, like, what it is. Like, she can just hold the object and she knows, like, this is a ghost object, or this isn't a ghost object, like, that kind of thing. So she really has a good, strong sense of, like, the ghosts and everything like that, but there definitely something happened in the past that made it so that she is not really 100% comfortable with her gift, almost. And it kind of gives her, like, it gives her kind of, like, a sense where she gets, like, more emotionally attached to the ghosts, is the way that I would say it. So she has that. She is also, like, she's just about past her, like, I think it's level 4 kind of thing, because there's like 4 levels to the learning how to be the ghost hunter, and she's just about past her level 4s when she doesn't end up passing it. So she's quite strong. Like they have like iron rapiers, like a little like skinny kind of sword kind of thing. So they have those because like ghosts can't have iron with them, like they can't touch them because it'll hurt them, that kind of thing. And she's pretty strong with hers, but she's kind of not, I don't know how to it's almost like she's like cocky, and then something happens and then she's like, oh, I should have done better there, I should have listened, that kind of thing. So I don't know, she kind of comes off as like a little bit cocky to begin with, but she ends up like growing, and she becomes like a really good like person, like a good unit person with the like Lockwood and Co. group. Number 3 is the agency Lockwood & Co. is known for its unorthodox methods and independent approach to solving paranormal cases. How does the agency's dynamic, led by Anthony Lockwood, influence the story of the actions of its members? So, that's one of the things about the agencies is most of them, like all of them except for Lockwood & Co., are run by adults. So the adults, like, they can't sense the ghosts anymore, but they did when they were younger, so they end up like moving up into being like in charge kind of thing. So they always have like specific rules at those agencies. They have specific weapons. They have like a A, B, C, D list kind of thing on the way that things are done. And Anthony Lockwood and Co. is the exact opposite of that. Their friend George does some research. He's also kind of like their baker. He kind of takes care of the house. Like he cooks their food and stuff like that. Lucy is kind of, not that she's hot-headed, but when she first gets there, she's kind of trying to prove herself a little bit. And Anthony says that's okay because he's like, yeah, that'll be fine. Because he doesn't find out about what happened in her past. He says, that's fine, you can keep it to yourself. You're here now and we'll start like fresh kind of thing. So he doesn't really bring up her past, but then when something happens, he's kind of like, well, you know, I'm like trusting you to like tell me if something's wrong or tell me if something's not going to work. So like we can't just fly by the seat of our pants kind of thing. But he still does. Like they forget to bring chains, they forget to bring bombs, like stuff like that. The thing though is, while they forget that stuff, they have like a way more, like they work together as a unit to get stuff. They work hard to get their cases, and they help people, like older people say, that can see, like they know that something's going on because like their cat's like distracted by something and it's like a shadow that's like bothering their bushes that used to be like a ghost kind of thing. So they'll help people with that. They'll take on like the smaller cases and stuff. But they are also trying to establish their name and kind of become like more famous as well. And I think, I don't know, they just seem to have more fun. But because they don't have like an adult there, there's also like a council that runs all of the agencies, and kind of like, it's like the government, like you report to the government kind of thing. So like you report to the council, and then there's the agencies, and then there's like the customers, kind of like that way. So like the council on top, like when something happens, there's a lot of spoilers in this video, I'm just going to point that out. Poo, 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 poo. So when Anthony and Co., like Anthony and Lucy go to a house, they accidentally burn the house down because they're trying to get a ghost, and Lucy ends up keeping a locket from that ghost. Like that's the thing that she ends up keeping, because she gets like emotionally attached to the locket, and she doesn't think, oh my gosh, there's going to be a ghost in here, but there's like a ghost in the locket. And then she takes the locket home, but then afterwards the council comes to the Lockwood & Co. house, and he's like, hey, the people that you were helping are going to sue you now because you burned down their house, which is like understandable. Whereas like if the agency was with like in that kind of like group where it was like a bigger agency or whatever, they would have like insurance to kind of cover that thing, but they don't, because they're like a separate entity and they're just like a little group. And Anthony has like a lot of money. They haven't really talked about his backstory too much, so I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think like his parents don't seem to be involved, from what I remember. Which I literally finished this like 2 days ago, but it took me the entire month to read the first half, so I kind of messed up on that. But yeah, so they're a little bit separate from the rest of the agencies, but they're still monitored by the council kind of thing. Okay, so number 4. Oh wait. How does the agency's dynamic led by Anthony Lockwood influence the story and the actions of the members? So still with number 3, that it influences the actions of the members because, you know, they forget their weapons and stuff like that. And they take risks that they wouldn't take if the adults were there being like, hey, you guys can't do this, or you gotta watch that, or don't do that kind of thing. So they end up taking more risks than like the top agency kind of would. Number 4 is the book explores the concept of teamwork and the importance of trust and cooperation. How did the relationship between Lucy Lockwood and George contribute to their success in facing supernatural challenges? And were there any instances in their teamwork faltered? And what were the consequences? So they do end up having, like, at the end of the book, they have like a super good team because they go through the screaming staircase and like a red room at this haunted house, which, okay, I don't honestly want to give away too much, even though we are doing a review, but if you have not read this book, I 10 out of 10 would recommend it. It is so good. I recommend doing the audiobook because I honestly think that the audio actor did a phenomenal job. Like, very good with the different voices and all that. But, okay, so at first, they have the relationship, they're brand new, they go to help this one family who has a ghost there, and that's where Lucy gets the locket that she ends up having. But it's like a socialite from like the 20s, 30s, something like that, like an earlier time, is murdered, and then her ghost is hanging out in this house. So the family that lives in this house wants Anthony and co to come in and take over, like, get rid of the ghost for them so that they can live in their house peacefully, which makes sense. And when they get there, they've forgotten, I think they just forgot their chains that would help. So Lucy kind of, like, it's not that she really goes off on her own, but she does be like, no, we can solve this. We don't need to leave. We don't need to go and get something else. We'll just take care of this ourselves, instead of actually stopping and being like, we should go and get like the proper weapons and then come back kind of thing. So it does end up happening that like there's a fire and they fall out of the house, like the second story window or whatever, and they almost get injured, or she is injured, and Anthony gets like touched by a ghost, so it's called ghost touched, and it like freezes his hand like he's injured. So then he has to go to the hospital, and then that's how so like at the beginning he is trusting her, like he's believing what she's saying, that like we can take care of it, but they don't have the proper weapons to take care of it, and it ends up in a house fire, and so that's like pretty bad consequences. But later when they're so they end up going to like this mansion, and there's like an older gentleman there who calls them, and he's like, there's ghosts here, and really this guy is the bad guy. Like, again, there's spoilers in this, but so he ended up killing like the socialite when she was younger, and then he bought this like super haunted house. He specifically took Lockwood and co there, hoping that they were gonna die, because then nobody would find out that he killed this girl in like the 30s or 40s, 20s, whatever it was. So he was trying to get away with murder and then also murder them so that he could get away with murder, kind of thing. Like, he didn't want them, because they were going to figure out that it was him, but it ended up being like a monastery. This part was so creepy, you guys. Okay, so they go, there's a screaming staircase, and they can hear this screaming, and there's like a well, and it turns out that something happened to the monks there, and they all got tied up, and then they got dropped down the well, and they died. So their ghosts are in the well, like haunting the well, and it's terrifying. And then there's the red room, and the red room is like ghosts and like, well, the monks that are like now angry, and it's terrifying. And if you watch the TV show, it's totally like episode number 1. I think it's episode number 1. It might be like episode number 1 and number 2, but the book is totally like those episodes. I don't have Netflix right now, so I can't tell you. But so they end up coming together, they do work together, and they end up solving the mystery. They figure out like, oh, he's the bad guy, and he's the one he like brought them there to like kill them, and then he admits it to them. Which, come on, you guys. Bad guy, in every single movie, the bad guy like stops to do a monologue to the good guy. Every single show, the bad guy stops to do a monologue to the good guy. Like, just kill the good guy and get it over with if that's what you're trying to do. In entertainment, not in real life. Number 5 is honestly, it's so hard to say. The Srceaming Staircase features a number of chilling, intense action sequences. Discuss the author's use of suspense and how did it enhance the reading experience. Were there any particular scenes that stood out to you? Not 100%. The fire at the beginning where they're jumping out the window and like they fall out, like it's not even like they jumped out the window, they kind of fell out the window trying to get away from the fire. That part kind of like freaks me out a little bit, because definitely falling out of like a high story window, like you're gonna be hurt. And then in the red room, it's so much like it that I could actually like 100%, no joke, I should probably listen to that part again, because it was a lot. Like it's like a very action series. I really like, it's just so good. It's so good. Number 6, in the book, there's a divide between the adult agencies and the independent ones run by young agents like Lockwood and Co. How did the divide affect the way the ghost hunting world operates? What does it say about the role of adults dealing with supernatural threats? So I kind of explained that already when I was talking about question 3 or 4 or whatever, about like how there's the committee and and then there's the agencies, and then there's like the people that they're helping kind of thing. So in all of the other agencies, it's the adults who used to be doing, because once they like, I don't know, they don't say a specific age, I don't think. Like, it's not like they turn 21 and then they can't see the ghosts anymore. I think just like the older they get, they can't, like it kind of fades. But they were all people that were agents at one time who could see stuff. So they do know what's going on. Like they understand like how the ghost thing works. Like they can kind of sense them a little bit, is what the one older guy was saying. Like he could still sense them, but he couldn't see them anymore kind of thing. So they do understand like the fight and like what they're fighting against and that kind of thing. But those agencies are way more governed, like I say. Like they do it by like the ABCDEF kind of like list of how to get rid of a ghost kind of thing. Whereas like Lockwood and Co., they kind of go in by the seat of their pants. When they go to this house, like the monastery, they go there. The person who like the bad guy who got them there essentially tells them like, I don't want you to bring in the flare bombs. I don't want you to bring in this. I don't want you to bring in that. I mean, technically he's also trying to like have the ghosts that are in the house kill them, but he's also not wanting them to bring that in because he doesn't want them to like set a fire, which kind of makes sense because he knows about the fire that had happened previously. So, I mean, you know, because they've already had one kind of fire, but so they have it like a little bit different because like Lockwood sneaks in a whole bunch of stuff underneath his coat, and like they're not as governed as the actual agencies, but they have their own separate agency. I think that also gives them more opportunity to work with different cases to help, I think, like really more people, because the other agencies, they're really regimented, whereas Lockwood and Co. are not. So they have more, I don't know, availability to help people. And like George does all the research. Lucy is so good at like how she can, you know, she touches something and then she's like, oh, this belonged to a lady who was 45 who smiled a lot but was really stressed out. That's all the stuff that this cream belongs to. Like, that's my cream, you know what I mean? So like that's the kind of thing, like she can pick all of that up. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that probably at the agencies they have those kind of people as well, but I don't know if anybody would be as strong as her. That's one thing, because she's pretty strong in it. And then, okay, so number 7 is the mystery surrounding the ghosts of Annabelle Ward. That's who it is, Annabelle Ward, is a central plot point in the book. How did the author build suspense and intrigue around her character? Were you satisfied with the resolution of this storyline? Oh my gosh, you guys, this is it. Okay. So Annabelle Ward is like, she's like a socialite in the UK, and it must be in the 50s. I don't know what year it was. Honestly, they said it probably, and I just like was not paying attention. But it must have been early, that kind of thing, because she didn't have a job. She was kind of like becoming famous for being kind of an actress, kind of a socialite, that kind of thing. She's dating a guy, she's happy, she starts dating somebody else, and then the original guy gets mad because he doesn't want her dating anybody else. But the thing is, this is the older guy now that's explaining this when they're at the monastery house, right? And he's saying like, she wasn't good enough for me. Her dad is like a tailor or something like that. And I was like, okay. But I mean, like back then it probably did matter, like, because social standings back then were a different kind of thing than they are now. And he's explaining like he really liked her and he didn't want her going out with anybody else, but he couldn't be with her because her dad was a tailor. And then he hit her and he killed her. And then he just like fixed a wall and like built her body into the wall. So that's how she ended up being like, and when they burnt the house down, that's how they found her. Like they found her in the wall. And that's how Lucy got the necklace, was from that. So I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. I'm like, I feel bad because I'm telling you guys literally the entire book, but I also want you to read it so bad. It's so good. Oh, I think like, I'm not supposed to talk about this yet, but I'm pretty sure that number 2 is winning on the poll. And like, already the poll is closed while I'm talking to you guys right now, but I'm filming this way in advance so I can have it up. And I'm really hoping that number 2 is the winner. So I really want to read the second one. So yes, I was satisfied with the resolution of her story. I didn't even suspect for like a second until they said there was like one thing before they or I was in the aha moment, like, oh my gosh, it's him. At the same moment they were like, oh my gosh, it's him. That kind of thing. So the mystery part was also really good in this book because they didn't give away a whole bunch. I didn't figure it out in advance, which I mean, I'm not super good at that anyway, but I didn't figure it out super in advance. So I thought that was pretty good. Like the whole thing, 10 out of 10, 59 stars, you guys. It was so good. Number 8 is Stroud, that's the author, incorporates elements of humors into the story, particularly through the character of George Cubbins. How did the humor add to the overall tone and themes of the book? Were there any comedic moments that resonated with you? I didn't really have any moments that super resonated with me, but I think if George was not there being like the comedic part, it would have been a way different book. Like, if we didn't have him, you know, making jokes or, like, kind of snidely, like, teasing Lucy or, you know, being super thoughtful and caring about Anthony, like, that kind of thing. Like, if we didn't like, George is, like, the heart of the book, kind of, essentially. Because he's the one who, like, worries about them when they're out. He helps them research. He cooks for them. He makes, like, the comedic jokes. He picks on Lucy. He, you know, like, that kind of thing. So, like, George is, like, literally the heart of the book. And I don't think that if he was it, like, if his character wasn't in it, it would just be a scary story. Like, 100%. It wouldn't be, like, the well-rounded book that it is. Like, and it makes you care more about the characters because you have George, you know, he makes them tea. He brings them food. He, like, cleans up the kitchen. He takes care of their weapons. And then he wears clothes that are way too big for him. He has a million weapons beside his bed. He's doing experiments on the ghosts. He's trying to like figure out like the scientific studies of ghosts. He does all the research for them. Like, George is honestly, they're all so good. They're all so good. I watched the TV show and I love that TV show. The book is better. I will say that for sure. But it was so good. I'm so excited for number 2. Next week when I'm in the review, I'm going to be like, so I already said this. Or in the reveal, I'm going to be like, I already told you guys what it was because I have no chill. Actually, though. And I don't know how to edit, so that's not happening. Like, I'm not doing it at all. So I thought that was really, really good. But I can't think of, like, any moments that specifically resonated with me. Number 9 is the streaming staircase, honestly. Every single time. Touches on themes of death, loss, and the afterlife. How did the book handle these themes, and what insights or questions did it raise for you as a reader? I don't really know if it did it raised any questions for me. I don't think it did. It did deal with, like, death and, like, ghosts and people haunting and different kinds of spirits, because there was a lot of different, like, Lucy's, like, a volatile spirit. She's mad because, like, she died, and she's justifiably angry that she was killed by a guy because she was going out with somebody else, when he specifically said, well, I'm not going to date you, but I don't want you to date anybody else. Like, bite it, guy. So, like, she's justifiably angry in that. The monks are justifiably angry, but also super terrifying. Like, so there's different levels of spirits kind of thing, you know? There's kind of, like, shadowy shapes that are just need to be, like, kind of moved away, that kind of thing. So, I don't know. It didn't make me raise any questions, though. Like, it didn't raise any questions for me. But it did deal with, like, a lot of, like, ghosts and afterlife. And, like, yeah, stuff like that. So it did deal with that, but it didn't make me have any questions or anything. And number 10, or what are your overall thoughts about the book? And if you watched the TV show, what did you think about the casting? Okay, so my overall thoughts are, oh my gosh, you guys, it was so good. I can't wait to read number 2. I might start it this week. I might start it early, which if I start it early, I'm really going to have to tab it, but I might actually start it early because I just need to know what happens in the next one. I have all 5. I have all 5. I didn't suggest this. This was suggested by one of you guys, so thank you for the suggestion. But, like, I have all 5 of them, and I think I'm gonna have to read them. Plus, they're perfect for this month. Like, I'm doing the readathon, the Vampire Diaries readathon, the Mystic readathon, I think it's called. Like, I'm doing that, so that would be pretty cool, because I could add it into that. That would be a prompt. Plus, over on my Instagram, I'm doing, like, 30 bingos. I went from doing like 4 last month to every single one I could find this month. So I might have gone over what I should have on them. Because, like, whatever book you're reading, you try and fill a prompt on the bingo board, and then you put it into your story. So if you guys do end up following me over on Instagram, or if you're already following me and all you see is like 30 stories of me adding a new book onto like a template, I'm really sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm very excited. Apparently, like, the majority of them, if you fill it out, you could actually win a prize. I don't even care about the prizes. I just want to fill out the bingo board. You guys know how much I love bingo. Like, you know. We play bingo on the channel. I love bingo. So I'm super excited to be doing that. I'm definitely going to have to read. Like, I don't think I can wait. Plus, I watched the TV show. Okay, so speaking of the TV show, I think the casting was amazing. I think they did so good. I love Lucy. I love Anthony. I love George. I think they did a really good job on that. I think George has, like, the kind of glib, snarky kind of comebacks and, like, the comedy styling. And he does, like, the actor who plays him. I'll try and remember to put, like, shots up here. If you guys haven't seen this TV show, I'll try and remember to put their faces in so you guys can see. Because I don't know their names off of the top of my head, so I apologize. Maybe I'll write that on the screen as well. But the actor who played George, insanely talented. He had the snarky comebacks. He had, like, the witty quips. He had, like, enough where you would believe that he wasn't great at fighting, but he definitely could become a fighter if he needed to. He had the charm and, like, the caretaker motif. Like, they cast him so perfectly. I'm so sad that it's not a TV show for, like, a second season. And I'm also so sad. Maybe I can buy it. Maybe I can buy it off of Amazon. If I can buy it off of Amazon, then I'll buy it. Because we don't have Netflix, and I don't think that we're going to get it for a while. But yeah, so maybe I'll end up buying it. And then the girl who played Lucy, also amazing. She did such a good job. She had, like, the perfect amount of just slightly, like, not cocky is not the right word. Like, the belief in herself that she was going to be right or whatever. I don't know how else to explain it. But she had enough of that, and also, like, the worry that she was going to mess everything up was, like, the perfect amount for her. And the guy who played Anthony, he was, like, perfect. The whole thing was perfect. The special effects are insane. They, like, the first episode is like the book. It's like the book in the first episode. Like, I don't know how to explain it, you guys. I don't know how to explain it. The show is 10 out of 10. The book is 10 out of 10. Like, I'm so happy that we read this one. I wanted to thank whoever suggested this. I'm not 100% sure who it is. I'm sorry at this time. But this book was so good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we got to read it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Okay, that's it. I rambled a lot in this. I haven't filmed for a while, so when I haven't filmed for a while, I talk a lot. I can say that because my throat hurts and I have to have another sip of water. So yeah, I talk like extra, and then it's a book review, so I talk extra on top of that. But whatever. Please like this video and check out my description box for other content creators. Make sure that you go over and watch Taylor's video because you do want to check out her video, see what she thought about the book. I know that she ended up getting it pretty late. Like, I think she bought it through Amazon from like a used dealer or something like that somehow. But she did end up getting it pretty late. So hopefully she actually has it done so that we have this up on time. And I hope that she liked it. But let me know if you read along with us. Let me know if you watched the TV show as well, because that was also like such a good show. Let me know how your day is going, what's new, what's happening. I will see you next Monday with the book reveal, even though I kind of said it here. I don't know if I did though. Like, maybe the voting changed since then. I'm not 100% sure. And that's it. Okay. Thank you guys so much for spending a couple minutes of your day with me today. I really, really appreciate that. And I really, really appreciate you. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.